Hello viewers and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We continue to take a look on what is happening in South Africa. Jacob Zuma has won in court and Jabulani Khumalo has gone down. This is a plus for Team Jacob Zuma. This is a plus for Team MK. And it's very interesting to note that South African courts continue to deliver justice for its own people. Let us take a look at the case between Jabulani Khumalo and the MK party, where he was claiming that he was leader of the MK. The results are here. The court has ruled, and it's very interesting that we take a look onto this matter and understand what really transpired and what really happened in court. Remember, they were fighting for the effective control of the MK party, and Jabulani Khumalo was accusing Jacob Zuma of illegally taking over MK party. And it's interesting because the evidence is right here with us from the court. They have actually expressed their feelings towards Jabulani Khumalo, and we need to quickly take a look from number 69 going downwards. And the first point which was made right here by the court is that Mr. Khumalo deserves to be hit with the costs because of how he dealt with this matter, or because of how he misrepresented facts. Number one, when the court awarded costs to Mr. Jacob Zuma, the court had a discretion, and they said that what happened is that Mr. Jabulani Khumalo was not telling the truth. Number one, the application he brought to the court was frivolous and it was completely devoid of merit. And barring jurisdiction, the points in limine raised by the respondents are dispositive of the application. So it is unclear why Mr. Khumalo persisted with the application, because on his case on agency, it has become moot. And this is a first point. The issue of agency, this matter was no longer urgent because he failed to take it to court in time. That is very, very, very important to know that this application, it would never seen the light of the day. That is point number one. Number two, Mr. Khumalo, when he presented his affidavits, he made a mistake. In the affidavits, he alleged that Mrs. Zuma Sambudla is not part of the MKP leadership. But on February 24, 2024, he advised the commission through a letter that MKP has appointed the ILC, and he listed Mrs. Zuma Sambudla as one of its members. And secondly, he denied that Mr. Zuma was the president of the MKP. Yet he made that assertion in the media statement, to which that he said Mr. Zuma was the leader of the MKP. He did say that in a video. There is a video which is available. And also in his founding affidavit, he stated that Mr. Zuma is not a member of the MKP. Yet he attached a letter to the same affidavit suspending Mr. Zuma from MKP pending disciplinary proceedings. So you do not suspend somebody who is not a member of the MKP, and that is very important. You do not suspend somebody who does not belong to you. So you'd say that they say it was, although it was contended on his behalf that he always refers Mr. Zuma as president because of his because he is the former president of South Africa. It is clear from the media statement referenced above that he referred to him as the president of MKP, and he denied being the author of JK6. Yet he signed it in the presence of Mr. Zuma Sambudla and an eyewitness who deposed a confirmatory affidavit to the respondent's answering affidavit. He failed to respond to these allegations in his replying affidavit. So these are the issues which led to Mr. Jabulani Khumalo fail. You know, we talked about these issues and said Mr. Jabulani Khumalo was going to face a difficult moment to try and prove his points right there. It's because he became greedy and he started trying to use the law or to abuse the law. So they say for the above reasons, the application also constitutes an abuse of course process and a waste of its judicial economy and the opposing respondents' resources. They have incurred legal costs opposing an application that should not have seen the light of the day. It would be unfair to leave the respondents out of pocket under these circumstances. A punitive cost against Mr. Khumalo is the most appropriate way of censuring Mr. Khumalo's conduct and sending a message to the public that making false statement under oath and abuse of this court process will not be countenanced. So this is what is happening. This is what the court said, which means this is the end of Mr. Jabulani Khumalo. There is no resurrection there politically for Mr. Jabulani Khumalo, which means this is the end of him. He's not going to find it easy to come back in any case, because remember, even though he used to go even if he is to appeal, it's a very, very huge task for him to be able to do so. What is of importance is to note that at this point in time, the onus lies with Umkhonto weSizwe, because these are the party stewards, these are the people with the structures, these are the people who can actually decide the way forward about the MKP, which means the MK can simply dismiss Mr. Khumalo. Even if he is to insist that he is still the leader, they will simply have to dismiss him. So it depends. With the one with the structures on his side, that person is the one who is going to win. And right here, it seems as if the Umkhonto weSizwe is managed to deal with this matter, and they won because his application was dismissed by the court and with costs. That is very important to note. And given the fact that South African courts, to a certain extent, they are still more powerful and they are less captured as compared to the courts in Zimbabwe, then you can actually see that this was a fair judgment for Mr. Jacob Zuma, because at times you do not need to play with people. You can't have people go to parliament at the expense of Mr. Jacob Zuma. Then you come later and you claim leadership the same way your brothers in Zimbabwe did with the opposition there. So he failed to play the cards of ZANU-PF well, and he ended up losing this case in the courts. This is very important to note at this point in time. Mr. Jabulani Khumalo is out. Mr. Jabulani Khumalo has been defeated, and Jacob Zuma has won this case and continues to wield power and control what is going to happen within the MK. So remember, the MK has said that they are not going to parliament up until their matter is resolved in court. Jabulani Khumalo was trying by all means possible to scuttle that position. He was trying by all means possible to stop that position from happening. But now, given that Zuma is now effectively in control of the MK party, there is a possibility that the MK party people will have to stand with what Jacob Zuma says. So if you take a look on this media statement, it was posted on the 10th. They were actually denouncing anything to do with Jabulani Khumalo, and this is very important to note that the Mnangagwa point of departure failed to happen in South Africa. This is how they neutralized the opposition by use of the courts, abusing the courts, and capturing the courts. But indeed, in South Africa, the courts proved that indeed Jabulani Khumalo was insane, and what he was doing was not supposed to be happening in the first place. So this gives Mr. Zuma a clear position in terms of leadership, waiting their internal processes. So what is going to happen is that Jacob Zuma is now effectively in control, and it will be on the MKP people to suggest if Jabulani Khumalo may in the future be part of them. But I don't see it happening in the near future, because going forward, you are going to see the MKP going to a Congress, going to elect its leadership, and Jabulani Khumalo is effectively out. And remember that he left voluntarily, he resigned from the MKP, and he then tried to bounce back to rejoin. and it is not working. So this is what is happening at this point in time. The courts declared Jabulani Khumalo a bogus leader, and they've reinstated the leadership of Jacob Zuma. Effectively, Jacob Zuma is now in full control of Umkhonto weSizwe after the Electoral Court declared the invalidity of the claims of Jabulani Khumalo. So this is what is happening. This is victory for the people of South Africa. This is victory for Jacob Zuma. Bad news for Cyril Ramaphosa, because you have to face Ubaba. You have to face President Jacob Zuma. And the matter is now clear. And it's a very interesting point in South African politics. Because remember, Parliament is going to sit in the MKP. They are going to boycott that sitting. That is going to send a clear message in terms of where they are going, in terms of leadership, in terms of standing with their own words, and it is going to have a negative impact on South Africa ANC party itself. So we'll see what is going to happen. We'll see if Ramaphosa is going to proceed, is going to win in terms of having a coalition with the DA. Remember, things are not well with Ramaphosa there in South Africa, because he's facing resistance from his own members, resistance from the South African people, and resistance from everybody. So it is going to be a very difficult moment for Ramaphosa, but to watch and see if Jacob Zuma is going to maneuver through and make ANC fail to keep on Ramaphosa as its president. So we'll see what is going to happen next.